Moving on, and now to an issue which not many of us would wish to openly talk about. And I ask, when did you stop bed wetting? Could you be over 20 years and still waking up to a wet bed? Well, today is World Bed Wetting Day, and Wambui Otiende is having a conversation with a 23-year-old woman who just stopped bed wetting. What was her experience over the years, and what is the cause of prolonged bed wetting?
I have to choose somebody who will understand in case it ever happens that I wet bed with you.
23-year-old Christine Mugechi.
So again, I have to be decisive of who I choose in my life.
Nothing from her looks betrays the most distressing experience she has battled with for what to her appeared eternity years. She purposely let us into her world to unveil the nightmare of her life. Christine since birth suffered from enuresis, which is passage of urine involuntarily when asleep and even when going about her daily program. Through bladder training, she managed to stop wetting herself when awake. This was at age 7, but her bedwetting continued. She, however, says that her first experience with the doctor was uncomfortable for having to answer questions she knew nothing about at the most tender and innocent stage of her life and having to go through numerous tests.
I've known myself as a bedwetter since I was a tiny kid. Like, that's been my life for the longest time. And going to school, in nursery school, I remember it all started when I had to go to school in nursery na nilikuwa bebe wangu, because again I'd sit down, susu inatoka tu, like I'll just sit, I'm seated comfortably and upon waking up niko wet.
Christine, out of college and still bedwetting, went through a hard social life.
Because now my self-esteem wasn't there, my confidence wasn't there. I used to be afraid of doing anything at all. Like, I really want to do it, but I'm like, hapana, nikienda kufanya hata nikikosea kidogo mtu atasema after all, when nikikojozi, you know how people attack you.
However, her situation did not stop her from finding that which she desired, love. She got into a relationship with her now fiancé, who did not mind her situation.
Of course, I've messed the bed with him several times, but he didn't treat me like the way you'll treat somebody in a very awkward way. He just tap me and tell me, by the way, wake up, since nini imekuwa wet kidogo, to change it. He'll actually help me change the beddings and everything, so I go now do cleaning on my own.
Christine's condition, according to her doctor, was caused by loose bladder. She endured 22 years of treatment.
Everybody was concerned, mbona huyu ako hivyo, you know, and there are people who of course will judge in a very funny way and say, oh, msichana wako ni kupenda hapendi kwenda choo, maybe anaogopa, anaona ni mbali, and you're like, okay. So I was taken to the hospital by then, and that's when I got the first test, diabetes and all other tests they did, and I didn't have any of that. It was just my bladder that was loose. The last time I wet the bed was last year, January, was my birthday.
Lucy Wambui, founder of the Enuresis Initiative Kenya, says that if bedwetting is not checked past 5 years of a child's development, it can translate into the secondary enuresis, where a person does not stop wetting the bed at an older age.
People telling me I have never dried. Throughout my childhood, my teenage, my whatever. I'm now 22, I'm now 20, I'm now 29, I'm now 30 years old. I have never dried.
Lucy also warns parents against ridiculing, punishing and publicly embarrassing children as a way to help stop wetting the bed, saying that it may tamper with the child's emotional and psychological welfare and that they may never stop wetting. She states ways a parent could help a bedwetting child overcome.
Like teasing children, thinking you can tease it out of a child. They don't work. They have no impact. They can actually be very, very detrimental to the development of a child. They shatter self-esteem. Support from parents, from the family, from the community is all important. So I've met also parents who have told me they purposed to be waking the child up at night, take them to the loo, And also it helps, like for parents to admit to a child, I was a bedwetter myself. It helps so much. It is so relieving. Also, praising a child when they achieve dryness, when they wake up with a dry bed, or when they wake up and they use the loo so that they don't wet the bed. Praising the child, keeping a record, keeping rewards.
Lucy strongly discourages against the traditional myths of remedies to stop bedwetting and shows gadgets that are used to help stop the enuresis condition by both children and grown-ups.
They are told to eat maize silk. There's one lady who told me she was told to climb on top of a tree and urinate a stream of urine from up there down into the ground. And she did that several times, and of course it had no impact. She was actually became an adult bedwetter. By the time she was coming to me, she was a married woman with two children, and she was a bedwetter. Basically, this is the bedwetting alarm. It's a very easy device to use. How we use it is that this armband is worn around the arm like this, and it has the node, the sensor that is activated by urine, by wetness. So this sensor will be clasped around the underwear, a panty or a boxer for a boy, and the person now goes to sleep like this. So when they begin to wet themselves, just the first few drops, this alarm will go off like this. So there is the alarm, there is a vibration I'm feeling around my arm, and there is a lamp, there is a light that glows bright in the dark. So when this happens, the person should wake up and deactivate the alarm and go to the loo, finish off.
Lucy, through her initiative, goes around high schools creating awareness on the bedwetting condition to prevent teenagers from self and social stigmatization, as it is prevalent in schools and may lower learners' self-esteem. The principal of Machakos Boys School in Dimulikahi, who is current chairman of the Kenya Secondary Heads Association, says the association has no special guidelines to address the issue of bedwetting.
What is there is we do not have a government policy that states this is how you need to handle bedwetters. But the policy of government is every school should be comfortable for all learners.
Indemoli says that there are cases of bedwetting bullying, and the school offers guidance and counseling to the affected to help them get over the social stress.
Once you are being rejected, if it is a cube, you are being rejected by the cube members, it's bullying. And we encourage the guidance and counseling department to also have sessions with them, just to find out whether, if there is anything beyond just maybe being late in stopping.
But what exactly is enuresis? Dr. Ian Githinji of Avenue Hospital breaks it down for us.
It's defined as the involuntary passage of urine or the loss of bladder control leading to the involuntary passage of urine. That's basically what enuresis will be. Some other synonyms that I use for it include incontinence or urine incontinence.
He goes on to define primary and secondary enuresis and the causes.
What we call primary enuresis, the etiology, the cause or the reason why they develop this most of the time is genetic. But then there are also other other causes that can be there for children, and it's important that any child who is having enuresis, usually we say above the age of 4, that they be assessed by the primary doctor, the pediatrician, so that then they can rule out these many other causes of enuresis, yeah, which might be things like urinary tract infections. Other things could be psychological. There are certain risk factors that have been noted for secondary enuresis. 1, including obesity. 2, the female sex also is at a higher risk of developing secondary enuresis compared to the male sex. Other things like smoking also increase the risk. Age, as people grow older, then their bladder function, because you lose the function of the muscles around the bladder and around the pelvic region, then that can also lead to enuresis or incontinence.
Enuresis and persistent enuresis, even though stereotyped to be a women thing, also affects men and is treatable.
3 to 4 times more than men. And hence, that coupled with the fact that also men don't talk about it, or men don't come out for treatment, then the numbers of men tend to be quite low.
Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Wambui, Otiende.